That should fix the sound. But for some reason on my phone, it still shows that we're in the starting soon. So can you guys see me yet? There we go. Okay, my phone just wasn't caught up, so I'm just trying to get it to go live. 1 second here. There we go. Technical difficulties. Oh my goodness. All right, I think I got everything. Looks like we can see it all. All right, I want to say hi to everybody. Hello, Laura Mayer. Nice to see you. Krista, hello. I think this is your first time here. I don't think I've seen you in chat before. Francine, so glad you made it here. That's awesome. Louise, wonderful to have you here. I'm thinking the sound is on, you guys. Can you confirm that with me? You can hear, you can see you. Good. Hello from the cloudy Northern California. So glad to be here. Welcome back, Loretta. I'm so glad you made it back here again. Okay, everyone can hear me. We're all doing good here now. Okay. Chrisella, welcome back. Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad this is your first time. Welcome here. It's awesome to have you. And I'm just waiting to people to roll in here. Laura, how's the snow where you're at? I wrote down that you had like 16 inches. So I hope you're able to get everything done that you've been wanting to. If you're like locked into the house, I'm not sure. So hope that's going well. And, oh yeah, I'm glad that you came into the Facebook group, Loretta. I'll put that link in there too for other people that might want to join. So I have that right here. So if you want to come and join my Facebook group, just follow that link and then I'll approve the membership. And there's just a couple questions and then I'll approve you. But yeah, it's a growing group. I'm really excited. And if people do anything from the lives or my classes, it's a great place to share and connect and outside of these type of events. So I'm so glad that I had like 25 of you join after the last live. I was really excited to have you guys all there. So yeah, definitely head over to Facebook and join the group if you're interested. The sun is out for Laura today. Hi, Lori, welcome. Oh, Shiny Art is Lori, my good friend of over 25 years. She's an artist too. Cameron, thank you for saying hi. I love all the hearts. Thank you. Temple, so glad you made it. I was trying to think if I had something written down, but I didn't. But I'm glad you're here. And it looks like we got everyone pretty much rolling in. So I'm going to get started and we'll just talk about some of the things, just a quick overview from on Tuesday. And what we're doing is if you haven't watched part 1, which I'm hoping you do, so definitely go back and watch part 1 if you haven't, because it gives you the foundation of where I'm at right now. And we did a grid layout for composition. And it just gives you some guidance and something to step off of. And we talked about that, you know, a lot of abstract art is really based on composition. It's not just someone going up and slapping stuff up there in hopes that it looks great. A lot of it, once you start seeing it, it really, if you have a foundation of some basic composition, it'll really allow you to get through an abstract piece. So there are some things I want to change today. Some of it might, you know, freak you out a little bit, but you know what is cool about making some big changes is it just really shows the versatility of this amazing medium. I'm using soft pastel. These are called PanPastels. That is the brand name. There's really nothing else out there like it. They're very highly pigmented, professional, soft pastels, and they go down like paint by using a soft tool. And the soft tools, I just dip into them like paint and paint with them. And I'm using a sanded UArt today I'm using the ivory. It's a sanded paper, and this is a 600 grade. It works really well with my soft tools. I'm also going to be showing you some of the other soft tool shapes today, just to kind of familiarize you guys with some of you just beginning. And we're also going to talk about the colorless blender, you guys. I went and pulled that out. I thought that would be fun to play with a little bit. And we are going to go on a journey. So thank you for being here. I'm really glad to have you. And looks like Sharon Robinson, welcome. I don't think I've had you here in chat before. Welcome. And it's just really great to be able, a lot of you come back every week, and I'm really excited about building this community. It's been a lot of fun, and my main purpose for doing this is connecting with you. It's not really about doing an art lesson. It's about like really demystifying soft pastel, answering questions. And I think that was the hardest thing for me in the beginning, was I just didn't really have a lot of, resources. I remember Lori and I, she's the Oh Shiny Art on here, we were searching for anything we could find on PanPastel, and there really wasn't a lot unless it was really formal. So I'm really excited to be able to answer a lot of your questions and be here for that. And the Facebook group is another place if you have questions too, but this has just been really wonderful. Agnes, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm so glad you're here. It is holiday tomorrow, so I'm allowed to stay up this late. Hee hee hee. Well, that's wonderful. I know it's really late where you're at. I have really early with the Australians, and I'm thinking you're in Germany. Am I right? Remind me where you're from, Agnes. I was thinking it was Germany, but I could be totally wrong. And then, hello, Michelle, do you have your computer fixed? I'm hoping you do. I know Michelle is from Australia. She's one of the tried and true Australians that are still showing up. Their time is 7:30 in the morning, so she's having her coffee and watching me on the big telly, if I recall. And so it's really early there. And then they have their time change, I'm thinking April 7th. And so it's going to be 6:30 in the morning there. So I am a little sad about daylight savings time and how it affects people. I would never have thought it unless I was doing this, right? So so much great stuff. We'll probably have to duck out for a bit, but we'll watch the replay. Yeah, the replay is a great resource if you're coming in and out. And oh, no, it'll be in about 2 months. Well, that's good. Agnes, I'm going to write that down. I'll come back and write that down, because I thought I had you down and I didn't know you were in Finland. And so I love to keep track of where people are from. And so I'm definitely going to take note of that. So that is amazing. It's amazing touching people from all over the world through live. I've had people from Denmark. It's just been really great. And so we're going to get started here. And I am going to bust out the eraser. And as I've talked about, the eraser to me is a tool. It's not a mistake. So when I'm creating, and especially in abstract, there's going to be things that after 48 hours I look at and I'm like, yeah, I don't really know if I love that. And I'm going to point out some of the things and tell you why. And it's all personal judgment on that. I mean, I could be fine and move on to the next. For me, this is a lot of right where it's at is the blocking in stage. I love to go over with pencils, make more mark making. It's why abstract is really fun for me. And so right now I'm kind of just at that where it's an uncomfortable stage. Some people call it the ugly stage. I'm trying to pivot that and call it the uncomfortable stage, because I think ugly is really negative. And so I really like to put a positive spin on it. And it's kind of true. I mean, we just get uncomfortable and we don't really know where it's going. We're unsure. And to be quite honest, I don't know if this is going to be my favorite abstract that I've ever done, because I'm live, it's a little bit different. But what I'm hoping that you take away is just the inspiration to try this grid out. It can lead so many places, and it's the foundation for so many things. So let's see here. I'll be in and out at dinner time. Upstate New York. Wow, welcome, Sharon. So I might shock you a little bit. I'm going to erase this part right here. I know Lori was like, oh, I really love that part, but I'm going to erase it. And what it's going to do is it's just going to show you what you can do. And it's also going to show you what the ivory paper looks like underneath when I erase. There's also a couple things. There's a lot of, the dark spots are too even. Like I have one here, one here, one here. I like to stagger mine and create interest that way. And I'm a little unsure about right here. I'm not a huge fan of this spot. I'm going to play around with that. I'm just going to grid it out a little bit more and just see what that does for me. So it's fun because what this shows you is what you can do. And I've also thought about taking these guys. I just don't know. So I'm going to play around, and abstract is a lot about like just getting to a spot and sitting with it. And, you know, if you feel like you don't know where you want to go or what you want to do, sometimes I'll even start another abstract. And sometimes working with two can really help. And I just put them on two separate boards and then work on them simultaneously. That's been a lot of fun. And then sometimes what happens is I'll end up getting into one and getting through whatever block I had. But yeah, I'm just going to see what this leads. So this is the UArt 600 paper is really erasable. The ivory does show up the pencil. It's hard to get fully rid of the Wolf carbon pencil that I like to use for stability. And so you can see that, but the pastel will cover it up. And even with an abstract, I really don't mind the extra texture. So I'm not sure. I might calm this down, and I might make this a little bit more of my focal and keep it up in the third down there. But I also have this kind of heavy, so this balanced it out. So I might just leave this little spot in there and see how I feel about that. And then sometimes when I do this too, it leaves little peaks of stuff, and I like that. And if there's anything really strong, I'm thinking about that too. So I'm also going to go and take this out. And this out. And the cool thing is I have a before and after, you guys, so we're going to be able to show that along the way. So, and I'm here in Minnesota hyperventilating while Dawn erases one of the focal points. So it's one of the focal points. Your page, when it's broken up, is basically right here. So you can see I have pretty heavy focal points in here. And so I think I'm really liking this one right here, and I'm going to play around with that, and we'll see if I keep that. But it's okay to have a little bit in each. And if you can see, I brought this down. It's not competing as much with this. And it's fun. You're going to be able, like, I just love that, Laura, you say that. But you're going to see that you can do this too. You can just play around, and if you don't like something or you're unsure, I can always put that back again. So I usually brush this off because I've erased so much there. I'll just use a little bit of this wire brush. I mean, it's a, oh man, I can't, bristle, just a bristle brush. And I'll just tap that off. And then this just gives me a little bit of like, okay, what do I want to do now? And I'm going to block that in and just see what happens. And I think I'm going to use my green. And yeah, the erasing is pretty powerful, Krista. It's pretty amazing. And I think if you weren't here, you would have never known that that was something I erased, and you would revisit the piece in a whole fresh way. And so that's what's exciting, that you're here on the journey. And look how it goes over. So this is the Hansa yellow extra dark. This is the bright yellow green. This is the core. I think this, yeah, this is the shade because it's almost neon. And then this is the extra dark for the bright yellow green. And this is the diarylide. That took forever for me to learn how to say, by the way. And so I'm just going to use this grid, which is, we're using squares and rectangles in that grid form. And I'm going to play around with blocking this in here. And on the ivory paper, if I don't erase, that black pencil just will show through. And I like that because it's adding some more marks in that. Now you can see how that's calmed that down just a tad. And look at the piece as a whole. It's interesting. I can always go back with the eraser and add some more. I'm just going to block this out and just see how it feels. I'm just going to sit with that. And if anything, it's just showing you guys what's possible. And I think that's really my goal here. I wanted to bring in more of the green that brought the eye in here. I have these 4 red spots that I want to merge in so they're just not hanging out as red. And I'm going to play with that whole thing too. So and then I'm going to play around with this spot right here. See, the problem with this spot, in my opinion, is it's the center of the piece, basically. So for me, I want the eye to go around the piece, but I don't necessarily want it to be a center of a hole where your eye goes. It's the most dramatic spot on here. So I'm going to go and maybe take some red and bump that all up here and bring it up and just see what that feels like. And the cool thing is you can, you know, that's the fun thing about it all. I'm enjoying the white parts as repetition of form and repeated in the green bumps. Thank you. An old broken laptop, 2 months for the other laptop. Oh, 2 months for it to be fixed, Michelle. Gosh, I'm really sorry. I get what you're saying about 2 months for it to be fixed. I understand. Okay. And then I'm going to block this and maybe use this, make this stay the pink, and then bring, and I can always go back and put those white lines in later. And because I have black in there, the black makes this red go extra dark. And I'm fine with that. I'm happy with that. But see, I would have never really thought to do any of this if I didn't just sit with the piece for 48 hours. And I just like to try different things, and I've learned that this medium just allows so much freedom to do that. The other thing is this is bringing it up to the same plane. It did look like one woman, I don't know who it was, but someone commented, I didn't write this down, but she said it looked like laundry from an apartment building, and I love that too. And this is going to unify the red a little bit so it's not in these 4 big blops. And blops probably isn't the word I was looking for, but and then I can merge it down into here. I mean, this is an adventure, and I'm not out to I don't like going into my pieces and trying to say that they're all going to turn out. I'm not sure about that. So sometimes I'm just playing with ideas to see what that entails. Now, what made me put this line right here is, if you can look, I got these lines going and they're kind of staggered, and I like that. So I'm going to see about breaking this up. This is kind of cool, but I just want to, I'm going to go into the pink here. don't want it to look like it's flipping it out. I don't know. When I just feel like something's just off, I'm going to do it. And this is going to grid this out even more, which was my initial intention in the first place. So it makes me want to put a little square right here too. And that might even be nice, instead of going dark, to go white, and then I can bring these together. Let's see what that looks like. So I wanted to show you guys too these different tools. So I have the oval's my favorite, and then there's this rectangle, and then I don't know what I would call this one, but I used to use this one all the time. And then I switched to the oval. It's like a half oval, I don't know. And then you have the triangle. And I use the triangle a lot with my black and white work, with my black PanPastel. And I can get into different spots with it. It's a great tool. But what I read somewhere is sometimes just to get used to one tool and let it be where you use it in all the different ways. So I'm rolling it and getting those marks that I can make and doing a lot of different things with just the one tool. And I found this one was the most universal for me. So that's why I use that one the most. I'll show some mark making I can do with some of the others, but I'm gonna bring in this raw umber and I'm gonna see what that feels like here. And I usually like to put a little bit of a and this is what I usually do on the bottom layers, but it just gives something to work with. So now I might blend that in with a darker tool and then put the white on the top. Oh, that's a little too much. I don't mind this being darker. I'm gonna marinate on that. That's cool. Boo, broken laptop. Yeah, I hope it gets fixed a lot sooner. Luxurious red. Yeah, I love the red. I really do love the red too. Hi, Laura. Welcome. I'm so glad you made it here today. I know I was trying to think. I thought I wrote, yeah. No, I didn't write something down. Don't mind me today. I'm a little fragmented. Sorry about that. Peg, I'm so glad that you're here. Okay, so I'm just putting bits in, and now we're all adjusting to where it's at. And it looks really chopped up still to me. And what is going to happen is I'll start using the pencils, and that'll start harmonizing some of these transitions. So to me, this is still like the blocking in stage. And so I'll convert us out of that pretty soon here. And I'm just using that grid idea to support some of these choices I'm making. So I've created another dark hole underneath this, so I don't know how long I'm gonna do that now that I'm thinking about it. I might just bring it up as a different color. Let's do this. You guys are just gonna see me floating around today and pushing this amazing paper as far as it can be pushed. That's what I really love about this whole thing anyway. See, and see how that left a little black ring around it? Like I like that. Like I'm playing around with these moments and I might be making changes, but every change I do abstracts it out a little bit more and does something that I might not have even, you know, you can't plan that stuff out. Okay. Oh, I love this community. You guys are all saying hi to each other. I love that so much. All right, so right here is what I'm really loving. I do love this. I'm going to bring up some of this with some lighter colors, and that's going to make these whites not look so dramatic. And this makes it into a tint. So I'm just bringing that up. And you can make patterns with that and by bringing it up and doing another pattern too. And this is where this shape is a lot of fun, is I can bring this into the white, knock it off a bit, and I could bring in little patterns like this. And if I don't, I always like go off on something and then blend it back in a little bit so it's not so dramatic, but it's really fun because you can do these fun things with the different tools. This one's actually an older tool. So over time, if you guys leave these out in the air and not inside a plastic, you know, protector, they will get hard and actually crumble. So you do need to protect your soft tools. So if you're not using them for a long amount of time, I put them inside a jar or a plastic bag or something like that. So I think what I'm going to like is I think I'm going to like when I blend this in a little bit and bring it up, and it's just all really on the higher levels right now. And then I'm also going to put, I think, some specks of this red in here in a couple spots. I like that. Okay, we got a question mark. Okay, Laura, she's going to tell me. So here's my deal with the abstract. My brain always wants to make a story, and then my marks tend to try to reinforce the story. Yeah, you know, I think abstract can still tell a story. Sometimes, like on this one, let's see here. Let's see if I left it out, you guys. I might have stashed. Oh, nope, here it is. So on this one, which is really fun, I think that still tells a story. I didn't want to do all of the elements and stuff today because I really wanted to focus on the grid. And this takes up a whole nother level. And this one's titled Secret Garden. It kind of ended up being a story on the way. And I think abstract has an abstract story, you know, like it will come to you as you go along, and naming it and sometimes having an intention. I've seen a lot of abstract artists work with. And so I get what you're saying. I think it's just a journey, and you have, like, how many abstracts have you done to really get to that point where you feel like you can focus on a story too. And I think sometimes when people are new to, I don't know how many abstracts you've done, I'm just kind of just saying for all the people that are here, is that focusing on skill and learning how to use the products and the tools and all that is so much for us to take in. And then trying to tell a story, I think that kind of comes natural. Like after doing several, some of them had a story, and then some of them started telling a story too. And I think our brain wants to do so much at once. And it's kind of interesting how a story can pop up and you didn't even like really plan for it. And I find that journey quite interesting. Let's see. Do you wash and dry your soft tools or just wipe them on the microfiber towels? I just wipe them on the microfiber towels, guys. I have a pile here of ones that have been used that I might see if they're still usable, but a lot of them, they'll start fraying at the top. And when I'm live, I go through them a little bit more. I don't wash them. When I started out, I was told you can wash them. I wash them. If you have some that aren't really worn down, I think they're worth washing, but I just end up wiping them anyway and just using them. So it kind of defeated the purpose. I think the biggest challenge with the soft tools is keeping a pure one. That's my challenge, is keeping one that's really pure white. If I'm changing it out, it's usually because I need a white one, because I want to work with the whites and I don't want to contaminate it. And it's really hard to wipe it off all the way sometimes without feeling like you're not, contaminating it in some way. Odd question, but I've been meaning to ask what microphone you're using right now. Yeah, I use a Rode mic. It's an Rode, and it's a wireless mic. So I have it clipped on. This is a lapel, but then it's a little square. You can look them up. It's Rode, and you'll get plenty of hits on that. So that's what I use. Lynn, I'm finally able to chat, not linking my phone to the TV. Welcome, Lynn. I'm so glad you're in chat. This is what took us a week. I'm really glad you're here. Laura M. Okay, wait, I think I missed some, Laura. Okay, I read your first one. This has felt like a street scene to me from the start, and I totally felt the laundry stretch across from the narrow street or alley. So then my subsequent marks would struggle not to do windows, doors, etc. So when you're doing the abstract, like the scene that you're doing, sometimes I'll do some where I'll just add more subliminal, like city type things, not like literal. I'll lean into the subtleties of trying to make it look like a city, but going where you get too literal on that can be the challenge. So a lot of times if I was doing that, I had buildings in here and I wanted them to look like buildings, I would start putting like marks in here. And those might, lean to the idea that back over here, there's a building. And then I would, repeat that somewhere else and do that. And I see what you're saying. And you're going to find your own journey just showing up and creating more abstracts to find out, how far you want to push that and where you want to go, because it's such a personal journey. I mean, the stuff I erased today could really, be like, oh man, I really like that. But for me, I really wanted this to go more abstract there, and I didn't want the eye just going here. And I wanted to show how I can make it fluid, make it more fluid throughout the piece and lean into the grid even more. So yeah, it's just a personal journey. I mean, definitely give yourself time to show up and create a few. Yeah, and a lot of it we intellectualize a ton, and doing and thinking is such a different thing. It's crazy. Like actually showing up and starting to play around with them and make them is so much more different than think. I'm a real intellectualizer, so Lori and I have both had a lot of conversations about that. And when you start making them, you might just be led on a journey you never expected, more and more and more. So I'm really liking, I think I'm going to put that white right here. So I like to blend in and start merging some of the shapes. That's my jam, and that's my goal here of what I'm thinking. Like this is pretty bold, so I'm gonna bring this up. And I'm probably gonna merge these in some way. And I'm gonna start using some pencils here in a little bit. This is the red iron oxide. I love this color. And what my brain's thinking too is just carrying color throughout when I'm choosing to put color down. So you can see I'm still using that grid type vibe. That's helping me make the decisions. And I'm okay if the colors harmonize together. That's where they mix in, like I have a little bit on the tool. I'm adding a little yellow to the red and the pink, and that will peach it out. Okay. I'm going to hit, sometimes when I use a lot of red in one, I'll go to one that I can put more of the green. It's just a little bit easier. So I'm going to start bringing up, working on this little area right here and bringing up some of this whites. I think I'm going to do that right here too. So when I use the white, I usually knock it off a little bit. And I'm trying not to make really like smooth, filling it all out perfect. That's something to really think about when you're doing abstract, is we're trying to abstract something out after we've built some structure in it. So when I'm doing that, I'm trying not to like make it super stiff to where it looks really blocky. I don't want the blocky. For me personally, I like messy. I like messy chaos. So that's from the place of where I'm going, is just, it's structured, but there is some chaos there, but it works. And I'm just bringing this red around. I'm going to put some little dots there. So I'm going to start moving into the pencils here, and that's going to start freeing up some of this. I'm kind of digging that red underneath here with the marks, not having it be perfect. So see, my eye's not going directly to here anymore. And I'll break up this red iron oxide a little bit, but I'm just looking at it through the, on the TV, on the screen here. And over here, I'm thinking about, I'm going to put some green. Oh, I used my, well, it's fine. So I'm looking at the balance of what I have where, and then I'm just filling in some of those spots. And the pencils sit on the surface a little bit more, so sometimes that's why I'm spending that time to get the pan pastel down first. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but the paper's peeking out right here. So that's what I'm... All right. All right, and I'm also working with a limited palette, and that can make a big difference too. And so when you're working with a limited palette, it actually helps you to focus. And so normally I would probably rainbow this out even more, but I think it's really fun to see something in a more limited palette for everybody, because I think it's really powerful to use complementary colors. So the red and the blue, I mean the red and the green are pretty complementary. I have some neutrals in here. This is the raw umber. Okay. I have placed my pencil sharpener somewhere real quick. I'm gonna grab a quick drink. Trying to remember to do self-care through these lives. Hi Jamie, welcome. I'm so glad you made it here. Okay, I'm gonna start having some fun here with the pencils, see where that leads me. A lot of times they guide me to the next step. So and you can do a lot of different patterns and mark making with the pencils that feed off the grid. I just try to create such creative situations. I try to create creative situations, but I like to incorporate things into my creative process that I get to scribble and play. And I think that's what I like the most about the abstract is I'm not locked into necessarily a story or anything. I can just be free. And the only thing that's guiding me is the core foundation of the grid. And you can see here that we have some focal points. They're all like, this is still a focal point, but it's just not in your face, that it's just like bam. And I have 3 of them here, and I think it's bringing you through the piece, and that is my goal. And my main goal was to really take this red and bring it through where it wasn't just 4 blotches. And so that's what was my main goal just starting out today, and I'm pretty happy with that so far. And I just will go through and support some of these areas that I've already done with the pencils and just add another messy layer. I mean, that's just fun. Have a little bit of that white in there. I'm going to knock that down from that line I put in. I'll probably put that line back in. And then I just got an array of greens pencils. My favorite core set, like I've said, I'll have that in the links below, is the Carbothello. It's a great starting set. I have all of these beautiful greens. Just making sure they're sharp here because I want to make some lines. I didn't go through and sharpen everything. This is a Caran d'Ache. I really love the lime green in this, but they're pretty close to this Carbothello 570. This is a 232, and it just does another step up. And I'm just thinking about we got to tap back into our inner child. I think that is the thing I've been focusing the most about art, is just like what brings me the most joy, and the inner child, tapping into that and just having fun, and I find I'm the most happiest. And so you can see how incorporating these pencils can be a lot of fun. And what I'm doing, if you can see that right here, and you're going to start seeing it slowly happen, and that's why I do the before and after, is you'll slowly start to see how I'm merging these worlds. And it's just taking those lines and making them where they harmonize together. So I'm thinking about that when I'm playing, and I'll start, making a transition that can be really beautiful. And these pencils they're really made to layer and do a lot of building on layering. So say I have this white area that I've put down, I can tap in this bright color or a brighter color and go really light, and then you layer back and forth. And that really brings up slowly, or, adds the color to whatever you're working on, skin tone or whatever. Now I'm using the pencils in a way that is more just mark making, like direct mark making. So I like a lot of pencils because I'm not blending them to make a figurative piece, or, you know, I'm not doing that right now and as much. I'm doing it in certain areas, and so I'm playing with both worlds, and I think that's a lot of fun. Okay. So right here, I'm going to push back some of that black. And I'll also, in just a couple of minutes, start talking about that, the colorless blender that my words are not 100% today. We'll just talk about the elephant in the room. I'm a little bit like, oh my gosh, where are your words today, Dawn? Black for me is really powerful. It reminds me of altered journaling. I just used it a ton back then. So I love how it breaks things up, and I use it a lot. Now, if you want to be a little bit less obvious, I go real dramatic with black. I love to punch through my work and the backgrounds. You can use just a really dark, you know, a navy blue, a really dark ultramarine blue, whatever is on a value scale that will hit. I have this on my website in my free pastel library. I think it's underneath my mushroom one. I'm not sure. I have it under one of my classes. I got to update it with this one, but we're really going after having the value scale in your pieces. So for value, it's really important to have a balance and, or, you know, some type of difference. If you do, a lot of people, what they get stuck in when they're beginners, they get stuck in this mid-tone zone, and they don't push it far enough brighter, and they don't push it far enough darker. Yes, I go 10 push dark because that's what I like. And but if you start looking at abstracts and pieces, you'll see that they have, a lot of them will have at least some flicks, even like Monet. If you go change Monet's pieces to black and white, you're gonna see that he used an extra dark blue and these little touches that draw your eye throughout the whole piece, but it looks really bright and white, but he's done it in a masterful way. So I'm doing it in a very little and extreme way, but I think we can learn an awful lot from the masters. And but the Monet's, I mean, there's so many people use that value scale is really important. And I think when you understand value, it's like a superpower. So I have a class that's called Simply Magic, and I have a few smaller free lessons that I show a technique that's really focused on value with just using black pan pastel. So that's definitely something to check out if you really want to expand your knowledge and value. Jonas Mark, welcome. Hello. I think this is your first time in chat. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for saying hi. All right, so I am just playing around here with the black and adding some fun patterns and mark making. We get to do whatever we want because abstract allows us to do that, which, you know, I do like to repeat things around, so I'll just find maybe another spot where I want to repeat that. And I'm just starting to put down some lines and stuff to get Another good tip is you can stand back with an abstract and take a photo of your artwork and really look through the camera, because it can make a huge difference. That's why I'm even looking on my screen here, is because it's like me taking a photo of it, and I can go, what do I want to play with that is sticking out at me right now? And switching your piece to black and white will show you how your values are. I'm going to get my trusty dowel here. Whoops, almost went right into the pan pastel. I'm going to put in a few horizontal. I got a lot of vertical lines. And see how I'm crossing over that line? I find that really can be a fun transition for the eye. Okay. Michelle. Oh, thank you so much, Michelle. You're one of my biggest cheerleaders. I really appreciate it. Yeah, if you please remember to do a thumbs up, like the video if you're enjoying this content. And I definitely would love to have you as a subscriber. You know, that reminds me, you guys, I'm like at 1,993 before this live started for followers. I'm almost hitting 2,000. I'm pretty excited about it, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much for all of your support. And I'm just rotating through some pencils. This is I gotta reorder this one, you guys. I gotta remember to do that this weekend. This is a 675 Carbothello. I say I like to use these patterns now and then like add to them, you know, like they give me a starting off point, and then it's just almost meditative for me. Like I'm going, oh, well, this is a lot of fun. I'm gonna just fill this in, and then I could bring another color in. So you can see how much fun. And see, now the structure right now is at a really good part where I can almost do, basically go over and do whatever I want with the pencils, and it's not gonna hurt what this core structure, where it's at right now. I love incorporating pinks in this. Let's see here. Really like this little line right here, so I'm gonna try to not. Thank you, Jonas. I appreciate you subscribing. That's awesome. Have you been doing pastel? What kind of art do you like to do? Oh, a mini pencil. I love seeing them. Yeah, you know, this is right where we get to this part, you guys. This is my pivot, is for those of you that are new, I like to celebrate when I use up my supplies. I have this one. I mean, it's going to be a while till I celebrate on this one, but this little mini pencil, we have to have a little celebration when I replace it with a new one, because we can't just hold on to these supplies, because, you know, it's just, we got to celebrate that we showed up. It's a different perspective. We showed up for art. We showed up for ourselves. We showed up to create. And if we use that up, we should be really proud of ourselves. And in all, when I really think about how many products I've really used up, it's not as much as I would think. These pastels last a long time, and it's pretty amazing how long they can last. But you can see now I have this whole layer down here where I can just create this fun, scratchy mark making that just brings me a ton of joy. I mean, and then I can get to know my pencils and my colors and how these colors look together. This is basically in the burnt sienna family. And I love that color with pinks and reds and greens. It's just a really beautiful color. So I'm just going around and using this pencil. So as you can see, when I pick up something, I usually will use it in a few different places. And I think if I can explain it the best way I can explain it is it just allows me to make interesting transitions with color and bring up areas that, thank you for the hearts. I really love that little feature. And add interesting transitions and color and spots. And then I can go over that again with something else. I did have some really good news too, you guys. I applied for my first level of monetization for chat. I made the goal, and so I'm pretty excited for that. So I'm just waiting for all that to go through. They say it can take like up to a month. So I'm being patient, but I'm pretty excited about that too. That was some good news for the week. Look here, I kind of want to put, I'm really liking these circles, and I think I want to put one of these up here. And then I have that green. This is pretty bright. I have this earthier green. Let me see if this one works. Yeah, it's a little bit brighter, but this is a Caran d'Ache. These really sit on the paper. They're really soft. It's a 039 and it's in this diarylide family. It's a yellow green. And sometimes you'll be pretty surprised when you go over some of these colors and you go, ooh, I really like that combination. I wish I would write down more of them, but I just don't work that way. It's just too much. I'm liking this color more than I thought I would. But it is yellow-green, and diarylide is one of my favorites, so I shouldn't be too surprised. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying my scribbly journey. I wish I would do more abstract, but you know, a few conversations came up. I think Francine, Tony, you were one of them, just really commented on the fact that I don't like to pigeonhole myself in any type of specific style. More subject matter, not style, but I like to be able to say, hey, today I want to do an abstract, and tomorrow I want to do a figurative piece. And then the next day, I'd like to do some landscape. I would say landscape's probably the one I haven't touched on the most, but I'm going to be taking a stick pastel class from one of the lessons in Dakota Pastel here in Mount Vernon. I'm pretty excited about it. It's not that I don't know how to use them. I just want to see how this guy, he's like 50 years, he's been creating in pastel, and I'm like, I just want to check out what this guy has to learn from. I mean, 50 years, that's a lot of painting. He's definitely done his time. So that'll be a fun adventure. I'm doing that in April. So you can see how I just start floating around. I'm just having a good time here. And how do I know when it's done? I bet you some of you are thinking that. I get asked that one a lot. I think with the abstracts, I just start feeling like I slow down in a way that I notice, and I don't feel like there's anywhere else I'd want to put something. Lynn Ellis. Oh, Michelle. I try to do that too. I'll also give her more views by replaying the videos, even if I'm running to the video. Oh, that's so sweet of you, Lynn. I really appreciate that. Thanks for your support of trying to help me grow. I love that so much. It means really a lot to me. I'm really enjoying the YouTube, being on the YouTube a lot more, because I like creating the classes, but I'm really enjoying showing up here and being able to just connect with all of you in such a fun way. We're alone a lot, people. It's nice to reach out and share with people. And I think the biggest thing too is I just love being able to answer questions that people have. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, don't hold back. Definitely don't be shy. So I'm taking this white, and it's not really full-on white. It's in the raw umber family. This is a 700 Carbothello, and I don't like to use the white all out, because what happens is that it doesn't give me anywhere else to go. So you'll see a lot of artists sometimes use those white touches for the very end. And I think that is important, because you want to be able to have another level if you want to bring anything out or change anything. And I think that's really important. I like this right here. I like that I went off trying to think if I want to do another one. I think that might be good. So now I'm going back into this little area and going back and forth, going over some of this pink, so that's going to bring that up and be a fun little tint. And this is where making that mark making journal of just not pastel, but the mark making, like just using pencil and recording some mark making ideas, would really help you when you're having to start doing the mark making and you're like, I don't even know what to do. And so keeping a little journal can be really helpful. I really like how this area is developed. So you can see how it just keeps on going, and I'm just taking the time to merge some of these together so they're not so formal. They're not so structured. So my whole goal, just in case you guys, is to break down structure that I've created. And then it gives these hints out that I think are really beautiful. They're what I love that. And so there's some of this really strong, and line is very strong in composition, that when there's such strong line here, that's where my eye is going. So I don't mind breaking that up again. I would say this is almost my strongest composition, and it's almost in the middle of my paper, but you know, it's abstract, so I'm just gonna not overthink that too much. I might bring this up a little bit right here. Why not? We have nothing to lose, you guys. And this is where I think people go, oh, well, I'm creating mud right there. Like if you were new, you'd go, ugh. But I'm just wiping off my tool. If I know I want to make that mark around, I'll just wipe that off, and then I'll add some more. Sometimes one little mark will just like really bring a piece to a spot that you're just like really happy about. Thought I had. I'm gonna grab a pencil, guys. I'll be right back. It's 2:46. We got plenty of time, and then I'll show you that blender. I just think I put my red that I want away. I think it's this one. So I have this orangey red. I have a few reds. And let's see. Where did I put my little pad here? So this is where I can demo. This is actually a little bit more fuchsia red. This is a little bit more orangey red. And these two are almost the same. So if I want to go a little bit more fuchsia red, I could use that one. I think I'll leave this one out. I really love putting like a really bright red over a peachy spot right there, and having reds fade into, like this is a really strong red, and then bringing it into this pink. Oh, I see there's a question. I'll be right there. Okay. Oh, we got some. Michelle, I've struggled with that too, is I feel like, especially with like social media, is that I feel like sometimes when people do things over and over and over again, it gets received in a easier way or something. And I'm so diverse that I've always felt like it's thrown people off with my work, but I feel like it always looks like me. It's just people seem to gravitate towards that repetition. And I think that's why I really am starting to go YouTube forward with all of my work is just, I'm really kind of, it's not really as deep of a connection on like Instagram and stuff like that. And so you can get where you feel like your work is judged in a way that isn't really fair sometimes. And it's like, I like a lot of diversity and that is something that's really important to me. So I'm holding true, you guys. I don't think we're meant to fit in a box. I don't think we're meant to do a grid abstract over and over and over again. That's why I think YouTube is my place, is because I will, it just seems to lean in that I can do all these diverse things, and I think it keeps things interesting. So I think we all look at that when we look at people who are successful and we compare and we're like, oh my gosh, am I supposed to just do birds over and over and over again to make it? You know, I just don't think that's what us artists, some of us are meant to do. I mean, it fits some people. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm trying to find my empowerment to be like, yeah, I do a lot of different things and I'm excited about that. And that's really important to me too. So I know we all think about that, or I know a lot of us do. Pearl de Chalane. Ooh, I think she's French. Sounds French. Pearl, welcome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's just a lot of showing up, to be quite honest. I did a thing where, you know, I was like, they said it takes 10,000 hours to master something. So I was like, well, if I showed up for 20 hours a week on average, and I did that for like just 6 years in pastel, I think it was like, I don't know, I'd have to get the calculator. I think it was like 7,000 hours or something. And so if you think I got 7,000 hours of showing up on the canvas, I mean on the pastel paper, and that's just for pastel. So it's a lot of it's just showing up, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely was thinking how to know when it's done. I can feel you can just redo and redo, specifically with the erasing feature of the paper. You know, you can redo and redo, but you get tired of that too, and you start moving into what the piece wants and really listening to what it says to you, because I think that's after showing up over some time. If you're doing where you're realism and you're going from a reference and you're making that look exactly there, I think it gives you a really straightforward, like, oh, I'm done. It looks like the reference image. If you're going a little bit more from your mind and your own creativity, I think that can be a little bit of a journey, and you just have to enjoy the journey and not really trying to get to the end result. Or what if you went too far on a few paintings? What if? Then you learn that you might want to hold it back. And what is that? You know, how do you know what that is? Well, you don't know unless you start doing a few of them, and then you kind of go, okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Let's see what it's like if I do less in this area. I think that whole thing of, you know, just letting each piece speak to you, and it tells you, learn so much from every piece, even if you turn out you love it or you don't love it. I feel that's been a huge learning thing for me personally. Okay, in last week's video you said that you are often literal, or that you can try not to be so literal. When you were working on the composition, can you explain what you mean by that? Okay, in last week's video, you said that you're often literal, or that you try not to be so literal when you were working on composition. Okay, so when I was doing the grid, I was dealing with, I'll just put it on here. So if I did the grid, let's say this whole thing is my grid. Well, this right here. So if I went literal, I'd be filling in each one of these holes, very literal. There are some grid art, you know, I've seen some artists, and I'm just saying that I try not to stay literal. So I'll build up some structure by using the grid, and I don't want to be literal. I'm literal, like with, I want to make sure it still has that grid feel. Like if you look at this and wondered what kind of composition it would be, I think you can tell it's from a grid composition. So I want to use the grid, but I also want to break down the structure. So if I went literal, it would look really chunky and it would be really filled out in each square. And I think there's a time to be literal when you're starting out, like your, right here might be a better example. Like in this purple one that I did, I was really literal when I started out with my grid. I really made the lines divided. And then I spent a lot of time making those lines merge. The grid helped me, but I didn't stay literal. I was literal in the beginning for my blocking in stage, but then my whole goal for the rest of the piece is to make it not look so literal. So I'm taking structure and I'm breaking it down. I'm using the structure as a jumping off point to help my mind calm down so I can have fun. Because the whole fantasy of just showing up and making abstract, it's there. I've done plenty where I didn't have any composition as a structure. I just learned that composition, the more I incorporated it, the more at ease I was able and the more success I felt like the piece had after doing so many of them. I hope that helps, because you're an amazing person with words, Francine, so I might not be as good at that. Weird question. But are you a Gemini? No, I'm not. I'm an Aquarius, you guys. February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. So yeah, I'm an Aquarius. My brother's a Gemini. You're getting Taurus vibes. You know, Lori's a Taurus. Oh, look at Lori. She says she's an Aquarius. Oh, I love that. Oh, I was a little behind. Oh, you guys are great. So, so now if I'm going to take a moment, and then we'll talk about the colorless blender. And I'm going to soak in this piece for a sec. And I'm going to see if there's some things that are kind of sticking out. I think I might want to lay over a couple dots of green right here. I'm not sure. And I'm just trying to balance things out and see what I like and what I don't like and what I'm loving. You know, it does get to a point where the piece just ends up being what it is. And I can always go back and play with it more too. But I'm really loving the things that I love. I love this little line right here. Those are those little moments that you just don't expect. I personally really like this spot right here. So I probably might bring that out a little bit more even. And I feel like I want to do a little bit more right here. So I could keep going. And these lines, I wouldn't mind filling those in. Maybe breaking this up a little bit. I could go on and have a great time. So on the colorless blender, I'm going to try to find a clean wand here. I have this triangle here. So I've seen people use it. I've used it a little bit myself, but I just didn't really love it. So what I've seen people do is they put it down, but see on a black paper, you can see it. So if you're putting some of it down and then putting, like, for say your red on it, I don't understand putting it down first necessarily. I saw that done and I was like, what they say is, I went on and looked it up on PanPastel, is what it is it's they're saying you don't have to use any more it doesn't change the pigment color. So if I put the colorless blender on and like, let me put two colors next to each other. Let me do like an orange. People think pastel's super fragile. It's not. I'm just going to put this over my painting right now. It might leave a couple marks, but we'll see. And it might add to the abstract. So I got that in there, and now I'm going to use the colorless blender. Maybe I'll make sure my tool is wiped off, and then use it in between these 2 points. But if I was going to blend anyway, I think it just makes it to where it's saying that the pigment won't change, like it stays up at that saturation value. Let me see. So if I was going to use it on my actual piece, like that doesn't really show me a whole lot. So let's say what about right here? I got this peach and this green. It says if I put the colorless blender on, I'm not going to add any pigment to it or color. It's just going to maybe blend it without doing that. Now I'm going to take this line and not touch it, and I'm just going to do this right here. See, I think it's kind of like a white, but so let's say if I have my wand wiped off, and now I'm going to blend these two. I think it just blends it a little bit smoother. It's not pulling up what's underneath to blend, but I do feel like it goes a little whiter. I'll look at your questions if you guys are... Okay, so that was, so yeah, I'm going to try it in another spot here. I really like this, so I'm not going to touch that. Where else? Maybe I would use a colorless blender. Let's see what happens when I go on like a line right here. I do think it blends them. Yeah, this smears a little bit more, but that's kind of how I work. Is not really smearing, but it takes the two colors together, and this sits on top of it a little bit more. And I could see myself using that. Let me think of where else I might want to use that on a... Well, I think it works really well with some subtle things. Like it blended that line, it's pretty subtle. Let me think another spot that I could maybe play with it on. I'm going to try putting it right here. This is over a little bit of pencil, but I don't know, there's a part of me that I'm seeing the value in it. I'm going to try right here now. I have pencil, but I'm being gentle, which that's a surprise. Let's see here. You guys are, you know, helping me branch out and see what it can do. I haven't really given it the time of day, to be quite honest. I'm digging it over the pencils because here's the thing. When you take a pencil and you put it down, a lot of times once I go over it, it'll come right off. And what I'm noticing, let's see if it will do it on here. Well, on here, it puts another layer on it where the pencil isn't going to go away totally. Like, I'm using the colorless blender on this pencil. And I think it keeps the pencil there more and blends out in a really interesting way. Now, let's see what happens if I was just to put like white over this, or like just use this raw umber, tap it off. And if I would put that in here, I don't know if it would look much different. Yeah. I do think it keeps the pigment a little bit more in one spot. So, well, I don't know about the muddiness, because I don't feel like if I went right here, and I have wolf pencil right here, the black wolf pencil, and I was gentle, it almost doesn't smear it. It just goes over it. So I think what it does is it just doesn't take what's underneath it and smear it. So if I want to use this and go over an edge or something, it doesn't add any more pigment on. Well, it does pick up some. I'd have to wipe off in between. But it is interesting. I mean, it's definitely got a different vibe to it when I'm putting it down. And you can dirty it up just like how my other stuff is. I'm going to switch this real quick. So this is what my towel looks like from wiping off. And some people might be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of waste. But it's taken me so long to go through my pastels, you guys. I'm a little more heavy-handed with my pastel. I've just learned that about myself. I would say the biggest challenge for me is starting to like lighten up a little bit. I'm going to use this real pure one with the blender, and I'm going to go over a couple of spots and see what this looks like. Especially if you're more delicate, I think it does have a really cool vibe to it. I think this would knock down a lot more if I wasn't using the blender. But it's still on the dark parts. It does act a little bit like white, but it's just not so harsh. I don't know. I like it. I like it. I don't know if I'll remember to use it, but there are some things that I do like about that. It's 3:06. I'm gonna go through and do my thing with my pencils here and see where that leads me. I have a feeling. I don't know. I'm just having fun. Breaking things up. This personally is my favorite part. And I'm intentionally not using my my dowel to go a little messier. Thank you for the hearts, you guys. I think less is more with the blender. It seems to take very little. I totally agree, Temple. I haven't done this yet, but I thought about using the colorless blender to lighten the sky at a horizon without adding white. Yeah, I would definitely, you just have to try it out and play with it and then report back. That's what I would like to see how you did it. You know, try some of that stuff out. A lot of it's just playing and seeing what it does for you, you know? So I would say this time of a piece, I put two of those really close together. I'll mess this one up. I don't like to put things like straight across. And I do think the blender has some cool properties. I really love this area right here, what I did with it. And so a lot of times people use PanPastel for the underpainting, and it's kind of like what I've done here is I like to go and use the pencils a lot, and so it helps me to create that foundation to be able to play with the pencils. And it takes time to get to this spot, but for me, it's like I've done it so many times. I know how it's worth it. And so that's what makes me push through to maybe being able to build that structure and to, you know, make a change here and there. And I know I want to get to this happy spot. So this is my happy place. You guys, welcome to my happy place. This is my favorite place to be. And it helps me just like, I want to loosen up and I want to... All right, I'm going to take this one little darker. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm traveling this weekend. We're going to go see family for the holiday weekend. But I'm already trying to think about, I don't even know what I'm going to do next week. But I will definitely post it as soon as I know. So you can see these peaches really come off of these, the raw umber, not the raw umber, the burnt sienna and the red iron oxide and the reds. I like to pull these peaches off, and I think they're really pretty. I wanted to break this up a bit. And then I'll take that's fun. I like that. I mean, come on. When do we get to do that? I just love it so much. I'll usually do something like that in 3 spots, and then I have to tell myself to stop. There's just so much layer goodness you can. And I like being real gentle with the pencils and then heavy with them and scribbly. Remember, we're going to be showing you the reveal of how far this has come at the end. I was looking for my darker, I thought I put that one in here, but it looks like I didn't. I feel like I limited myself with pencils, and I'm not used to having a limited range, but it's good for me. I mean, every once in a while to I want to put something, I'll just use black, like the darker. Oh, wait, what's this one? So I have this one that it's my shadow pencil, and I just want to put a few stripes in here. All right, let's see. Cheryl, welcome. I got totally sidetracked, but you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, it's the pencil party stage. I totally love that. I love that so much. I need to have like a button. I've seen that on some lives that they have a button with music. Maybe I need to get one that has this little music moment. That would be kind of fun. I'm going to use the white because we have a few more minutes, and I'm just going to put that in a few touch spots. I wouldn't mind blending these together a little bit. Now you can see like I'm connecting the white to something. If I didn't connect it to something, it just kind of hangs out, and I think that's what my brain does, is it wants to connect to these colors and make them a little bit more a part of each other, if that makes sense. If I keep them so unified and not connected, then they just kind of hang out. And if I was to try to put into words what I'm doing, I think that's what I'm doing. And I would say these last moments, like these are what I think personally makes the piece pop. Thank you for the hearts. You guys are so sweet. I'm really having fun. I don't know what you guys think, but I'd love to do a few more of the abstracts. I'm gonna take a white. I'm gonna see if I have that. The other thing that's really cool with this stage, I've kept it limited, but when I have stick pastels, I'll just show you really quick. Like if you have any stick pastels, I'll grab a couple and show you what I do with those, because I think I might have pulled them out on my little unicorn. Let me see. I have my unicorn over here. Oh, those are more purples. Let me grab a white real quick. Ah, here they are. And then I can grab a fun red. I mean, I don't mean to enable you guys anymore, but this is pretty fun, and it's how I use my stick pastels. So I got to grab a couple. So I'm going to get a pink, a peachy pink. That's a little orangey pink. So let me see, I got one more. Here we go. Okay. So I just have a few here. I'm gonna have to see if those are the... Bear with me, guys. I got an impulse to share this with you, and I think it'll be fun. I just thought I had a whole tray of those. I'll just use these simple ones. So let's see. I think this one might be a little pinky. But what's cool is you can take these sticks and you can do mark making on this level, and it's a whole nother ball game. And I think that's fun on this level to be able to put some. And this one is a little pink, but I don't mind it. I'm only touching it in a couple of spots, and then I can use this red and then go over another layer. And it's just this extra pop. And I'll usually only put it in my focal point areas. But, I mean, you can do just pencils. I'm just showing you a whole nother spot. The only thing with the pencils is once you go over it, it's hard to bring them, to get them off again. They're not as, not the pencils, the sticks. So you can see I popped it in a few different areas and it really made those spots pop. Less is more, I would say, on that. And then I also have a, trying to put them somewhere where they don't, here we go. They are a lot messier. And then the white, I can do the same thing. And it's a whole nother level when it comes to that. But I feel like I can do most of my stuff with just the pencils. I'm a definite art supply lover. So I want to just show people what they can do. All right, you guys, let's see here. I'm gonna take a little bit of this. I took the thing off and then I'm like, oh, I had a spare, you guys. I got a spare. I go through a lot more tools with this. I'm looking to see. I'm gonna blend that part right there. Okay, I'm gonna take my white, and I want a softer white. And I'm just going to hit a couple spots. Okay, the sticks on those top layers, the brands are all over the place. It's just really hard. I use a lot of, I can't even pronounce it. I think those ones that I used are the French ones, and I need to go look up the name, begins with S. And the sticks, you can just get any good brand of sticks will work. It's, I want to see if I like this real quick. Yeah, I like that. I'm trying to think. Oh, here it is. I have the name right here. I use a lot of these. This is a box of some I just got as a gift. for my birthday, but I've used these. Are really soft, beautiful stick, and but I use Diane Townsend. They're a little bit harder. I've also used who is the one? Terry Ludwig is one of my favorites. They're expensive, but they're one of my favorites. And then let's see here. Yeah, you hit it, Pearl. Thank you. I'm definitely a member of the Art Supply Club. Okay, yeah, it's just a mix of sticks, but I would say those ones are the ones I started out getting a lot of because I just think they're soft and beautiful and amazing. And then you have the correct spelling. Awesome. Lori, you're good at that. Or Laura, that was Laura. Awesome. I see what you guys are saying. Okay. All right, so I'm getting where I am slowing down here, and you can see, like, if I put these in and I thought, well, maybe that's a pretty bold choice right there, I can just blend them, you know, and I can even bring up the, all my brushes are pretty dark right now. I can even bring up the saturation and go back and forth a little bit here. Can use my blending right here. Let's see what colorless blender. I think that's an interesting thing to look into a little bit more. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I mean, there's definitely some stuff I want to keep playing with, but you know, I can go on and on and on, you guys. And that's the fun thing with abstracts. That's why I love them so much, is that I can go on, and I still think it looks good at the end. You know, it's like, I want this there, but I don't want that there. There we go. So I'm going to soften that. Some pan pastel will soften that. So I'm just looking. I feel like I need a little bit of white right here. Gosh, you guys, this has been an amazing journey. I'm really thrilled to have you guys here, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm going to show the before and after here. I just feel like I keep wanting to touch it. But that's just who I am. Let me just do a little bit more. I guess I get to do whatever I want. I just can't believe it's 3:30 already. Okay, I'll answer chat in just a sec. I'm gonna finish this little moment. See, the one thing is when we do this, there's a time limit. I mean, they're kind of, I mean, I could come, but I try to do one piece in 2 sittings. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't always go that way. That needs more time. But I think you're definitely going to get the vibe here. And I hope if you guys do any, you know, abstracts or play around, have fun, to please post to my Facebook group. I'd love that. I'm going to give it one more look-see. All right, I'm going to check chat and I'm going to show you the before and after. You guys ready? Okay, let's see. I'm at peace with a well-stocked toolbox. That's awesome, Temple. Yeah, Lori's the same. Oh, shiny art. Okay, cool. I have those. I just wasn't sure how the 600 grit would handle. I only use the sticks on the top layers. I don't really use the sticks on the lower layers unless it's a dark, an extra dark. So I just bought the Townsend Ultra Blue Black 54D, and I think it's mislabeled because it seems too blue and too light. Yeah, you have to make sure those Ultra Blue Blacks are extra dark. The 54D, I'd have to go check that, Stacy. I've had that happen to me too, and there's some extra darks and then there's just darks. So I would have to check on that for you. I'm sorry. It probably is too light because their extra darks are pretty black. Like, let me see, I don't even know. I usually have one sitting up here on my thing just to show you because I have it right here. Here's how dark one of their extra darks should look. It should look almost black, but it has a tint of a color in it. Okay. That's what's hard with pastels, Stacy, getting just the right colors, like finding a unicorn sometimes. Oh, Temple, that was beautifully said. I recently purchased Terry Ludwig Nightscape set. Oh my gosh, Martha. Welcome, Martha. I think it's your first time in chat. I don't know if I saw you in... Well, you were up here in chat. Abstract is missing. Oh, I didn't realize it. I'm checking. I'm getting caught up on you, Martha. Getting caught up on you. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, I see where you first chatted here. Let me see that. Abstract is missing in my life. Well, I hope I've inspired you to put it in your life. That would be awesome. And it said you're gonna love the Terry Ludwigs. They're expensive, but I have to say, the one full piece I did from almost beginning to end and sticks was mostly Terry Ludwig. They're beautiful pastel. So yeah, I get a lot of my pastels at Dakota Pastels, Dakota Art. A lot of my Terry Ludwigs I get there. Blick, if I find a set, I'll get them on Blick if they're cheaper or on sale. But Terry Ludwig usually has quite a few sales. The Dakota Pastels. The only problem with Dakota Pastels is you have to spend $200 to get free shipping, which, you know, for some that can be challenging. So let's see. So you ordered the one that I recommended. I will go check on that. They might have mislabeled it because I'm pretty sure I got the right one in there. If you want to email me at art@dawnvanderstoop.com, Stacy, I can try to help you with that and see what happened. Drum roll. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. You guys ready for the before and after? All right. Okay, this is where we're at. This is where it was. And so you can see that it looks chunky there. And my whole goal was to bring it in together and to unify it. So here it is again. And I like the changes where it made. I think it's a little bit more abstract. The whites are a little bright, but I could tone those down a little bit if I wanted to. But it definitely gives us an idea of where it can go, what kind of changes you can make, and just have fun, you know? I think that's my whole goal here. I did go a little red heavy, but you know what? I could judge it all I want. I just had fun. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I could have left this in here and totally had a great time too. But it does show you, you know, where you want that eye to go. You can see that I had the 4 chunks right here and how your eye went really in the center here. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just wanted to kind of play around and see if I could make that a little bit more of a journey and more of a grid. So you can see the grid influence all throughout. So I hope that, oh, thank you guys. I think I mentioned part 1. I think you mentioned in part 1 that abstracts still follow rules of composition, and you demonstrated this perfectly. Thank you so much, Lynn. I really appreciate that. You know, it definitely, the composition and the structure just really helps. And I think it just, like, even just getting those focal points and just playing around with that. I mean, yeah, I did multiple focal points, but it's abstract. We're having fun. I could have had where a lot of these are more calmer, and then I had all my busyness in one little cluster. I could have where all my busyness was just right here, but I'm just having fun. I mean, you can do things in so many different ways. So like even on this one, it shows you, you know, like I kept it up into the thirds, but I still had some fun and did it all around. And I just hope you guys are inspired to show up, have some fun, use those art supplies, and just, you know, be gentle with yourself. It's a journey. So let's see. She likes both. Stacy likes both of them. Loretta, I'm glad that you're welcome. Thanks for letting us in your happy place. You're welcome, Agnes. Thank you, Pearl. I'm going to have to go check that 554D, you guys. I hope I didn't have the wrong one listed there. I will go check, but I thought I had that right. Well, it looks like I've answered them all. I'm glad you guys are enjoying, that you enjoyed the journey, and I'm going to sign off now, and I will be back next Tuesday. I'm not sure what we'll create next Tuesday, but I will see what I get inspired to do. And if you're newer here, please, I put a link in there. I'll try to pin it for my free PanPastel membership library on my website at dawnvandersoup.com. Sign up, it's free. You don't have to do any payment method. And then you'll have access to even more free tools and lessons with line art and things like that. And so also join my Facebook group if you want to show your art and extend the community even more. It's been a lot of fun. So you guys all have a great weekend. Take care. If you're driving, drive safe. And I will see you guys next week. All right. Bye, guys.